My name is Jim Johnson. I'm here representing Kansas City Barbecue Society. We will now call it KCBS. It is the world's largest dues-paying sanctioning body for barbecue. And we are here to do the inaugural, the first time in Panama that you're going to have a sanctioned Kansas City Barbecue Society event as far as the barbecue contest goes on Sunday.
You've already been here in Panama several days working with a bunch of folks, and the main goal of what you're doing is teaching American style barbecue, right?
We are. We're teaching a standard of barbecue that's going to be universal throughout the world. We've gone to Australia and Japan, and now we're in Panama, and we've been to Costa Rica, and we've been all over the world, Germany, and every place in Europe you can think. And so what happens is by doing so, it creates a standard. So if a Panamanian team wins here, which the team that wins on Sunday will have the opportunity to compete in 3 contests in the United States. They're going to be able to go to the World Food Championships, they're going to go to the Jack Daniels, they're going to go to the American Royal. So they're automatically are entitled to go to those 3 events. So they will know the standards, so the judging will be the same as it is in Panama, as it is in the U.S. or wherever throughout the world. So that's going to be what we try to do. And in the meantime, we promote American-style products. We promote American-style barbecue. We're going to promote everything we can. We work with the local officials. We work with the local people promoting products that we have there, but we also try to help along with you as the USDA.
Barbecue in the United States, there's several different types that are out there, and of course Kansas City is one of the most famous ones.
Right.
You say that the Kansas City Barbecue Society is the biggest
Right.
dues-paying member. And we wanted to have you come in today here to the embassy to talk to us because of our work with our friends and our club with Sabor USA.
Right.
And as well as our sponsors, the U.S. Meat Export Federation. So those are the folks that work on bringing in this top quality stuff that competitors in the U.S. are used to working with, and that now we're helping competitors around the world through your organization work with as well. Our campaign with Sabor USA is mixing of local food cultures, right? So either making traditional Panamanian dishes with maybe a unique U.S. ingredient, or maybe making a traditional American ingredient with some special Panamanian flavor added to it.
Right.
Now, what you guys are doing with Kansas City Barbecue Society is teaching American-style barbecue. So you would think that'd be based on American beef and pork,
American beef, American pork, American poultry, whatever, along with the American flavor profile.
Right.
And so what happens is, and we find this to be true when we go to countries, that the spices are different, and and we find that areas are different. You know, the Panamanian area, they like their spices a little bit sweeter. And they don't want the 3 gallons of cayenne pepper like you would see in Texas. You know, you go to Texas, they want it hot. And so, but you come here, not so spicy, but more flavorful.
Okay.
And so we have to work on those flavor profiles to hit the mark that they're looking for.
Market. Because you got that experience because Panama is not your first overseas trip, right? You're in several countries where you've done this stuff recently.
Is when I go to a country for the first time, normally I have to meet with butchers first. And the local butchers, because we talk about a Boston butt, and people just assume that what's a Boston butt, because not everybody butchers a hog the way we do in America. And the Boston butt it has nothing to do with the anatomy of the pig. A little history lesson real quick if I've got time. But what happens is Boston butt was created back in the 1700s. Our busiest harbor was the Boston Harbor, and the ships would go out to sea, and as they went to sea, they would go out for months at a time. Well, there was no refrigeration. So there was a local butcher there that learned how to cut a piece of meat off the hog that they could put in a container. They'd put salt down, put a piece of meat, salt, piece of meat, stack it up, close the container up. That container was called a butt. And so that Boston butt is actually the top half of the shoulder. So it's the shoulder part next to the backbone coming over to the joint. And so that's a square piece that would fit in that container. And so it has nothing to do with the anatomy of the pig. It has to do with a container that it was stored in back in the 1700s. Most places we go to, they don't trim them that way. They have pork neck, pork collar, whatever. So we have to go train the butchers first. And then the teams and the people would know that if I want an American style cut, this butcher knows how to cut them the way we want them to, that we need them to compete with. So that's the things that we do. So we go down and set the standards first for them, and then we teach the local people how to cook, smoke, and flavors, and flavor profiles, and spices, and the meat trimming, and how do we cook it, and things like that. And then they can compete on a world stage. When we first started this 13 years ago, the international teams would come and compete in the U.S., and as they came to the U.S. to compete, they would always finish at the very bottom. And now you see the international teams right up there. They're getting their names called in the top 10 every event they go to. You know, you've got an amazing amount of talent in Panama when it comes to food. The food scene down here is just incredible. The chefs are fantastic. They're wonderful chefs. And then you have the backyard people, myself included, that just love to grill a steak on the weekend and stuff. Now we're working with them, and they're going, oh, I can do a brisket, or I can do this now, and I can do this. And so from that standpoint, the food quality means a lot. Used to, we could mask things with barbecue sauce and sauces and rubs, but now people want flavors to stand out. So they want the flavor of the meat to stand out, so it's important that they have quality meat. It's important that they're able to get quality meat, whether imported or it's grown locally.
And some of the traditional stuff we'd say with barbecue, right, on beef, you got brisket, maybe most iconic. On pork, you got your ribs and your butts. What is some of the less common stuff that you guys teach for competition?
Well, what's going to happen is the Kansas City Barbecue Society said what we're going to do is 30-some odd years ago, then when they started, they said a good cook should be able to cook chicken. So there's going to be a chicken category. Then there's going to be pork ribs. And then there's going to be a pork shoulder, Boston butt category. And then there's brisket. Because brisket was the chest of the cow. It supports 65% of the weight of that cow its entire life. So it's just a hard-working muscle. It's tough and what have you. And back 30-some odd years ago, it was ground up to make hamburger meat. So it was never utilized and never used properly the way it should be.
You know, I think we'll have a lot of our friends from our Club Sabor USA, because as our tagline goes, remember folks, estamos unidos por los sabores.